Tomorrowland 2015, also known as Project T in some regions and subtitled A World Beyond in some other regions, is a 2015 American science fiction film directed by Brad Bird with a screenplay by Britt and Damon Lindelof. The film is based on the themed land Tomorrowland from the Disney parks and a story by Bird, Lindelof, and Jeff Jensen. It stars George Clooney, Hugh Laurie, Britt Robertson, Rafe Cassidy, Tim McGraw, Kathryn Hahn, and Keegan-Michael Key. In the film, a disillusioned genius inventor and a teenage science enthusiast embark to an intriguing alternate dimension known as Tomorrowland, where their actions directly affect their own world. Walt Disney Pictures originally announced the film in June 2011 under the working title 1952 and later retitled it to Tomorrowland after the Disney Parks theme land. 6-7 In drafting their story, Bird and Lindelof took inspiration from the progressive cultural movements of the space age, as well as Walt Disney's optimistic philosophy of the future, notably his conceptual vision for the planned community known as Epcot. 8-9 Principal photography began in August 2013, with scenes shot at multiple locales in 5 countries. 10. Tomorrowland was released by Walt Disney Studios Motion Pictures in conventional and IMAX formats on May 22, 2015. The film, which received mixed reviews from critics, grossed $209 million worldwide and was considered a commercial failure for losing Disney $121.50 million at the box office. 11-12-13. Plot. Young boy Frank Walker attends the New York World's Fair to sell his prototype jetpack, but is rejected because it does not work. He is approached by the young girl Athena, who hands him an orange lapel pin with a blue T embossed on it, telling him to follow her onto Walt Disney's It's a Small World attraction at the fair's Pepsi-Cola Pavilion. Frank obeys, sneaking onto the ride. There, the pin is scanned by a laser, and he is transported to Tomorrowland, a futuristic cityscape, where advanced robots fix his jetpack, allowing him to fly and join the secretive world. In the present day, optimistic teenager Casey Newton repeatedly sabotages the planned demolition of a NASA launch site in Florida. Her father Eddie, a NASA engineer, faces losing his job. Casey is eventually caught and arrested. At the police station, she finds a pin in her belongings. Touching it, the pin transports her to Tomorrowland. Her adventure is cut short when the pin's battery runs out, leaving Casey stranded in a lake. With help from her younger brother Nate, Casey finds a Houston memorabilia store related to the pin. The owners attack her when she is unable to divulge where she got the pin, insisting that Casey knows about a little girl. Athena bursts in and defeats the owners, actually audio animatronics, who self-destruct, blowing apart the shop. After Casey and Athena steal a car, Athena reveals she is also an animatronic, purposed to find and recruit people who fit the ideals of Tomorrowland. She then drops Casey off outside an adult Frank's house in Pittsfield, New York. The now reclusive, cynical Frank declines Casey's request to take her to Tomorrowland, having been banished from it years ago. Inside his house, Casey finds a probability counter marking the end of the world. Frank warns her that the future is doomed, but she disagrees, thus lowering the counter's probability. Animatronic assassins arrive to kill Casey, but she and Frank escape, meeting Athena in the woods outside his house. Frank resents Athena for lying to him about her true nature, but reluctantly agrees to help them get to Tomorrowland. Using a teleportation device, the trio travel to the top of the Eiffel Tower. Frank explains that Gustav Eiffel, Jules Verne, Nikola Tesla, and Thomas Edison co-founded Plus Ultra, a secret society of futurists, creating Tomorrowland in another dimension, free to make scientific breakthroughs without obstruction. The trio use an antique rocket, called the Spectacle, hidden beneath the Eiffel Tower to travel to Tomorrowland. There, they find Tomorrowland in a state of decay. David Nix, Tomorrowland's governor, greets them. They travel to a tachyon machine, invented by Frank, which accurately predicted the worldwide catastrophe. Casey refuses to accept the world will end, causing the future to temporarily alter. Frank attempts to convince Nix to listen, who refuses and intends to have the group leave Tomorrowland. Casey realizes the tachyon machine is telling humanity that the world will end, creating a self-fulfilling prophecy. They confront Nix, who admits he tried to prevent the future by projecting such images to humanity as a warning. Instead, they embraced the apocalypse, refusing to act to make a better future for their world. Believing that humanity simply gave up, Nix has to and intends to allow the apocalypse to happen so he can rebuild the world to his liking. Casey, Frank, and Athena attempt to use a bomb to destroy the machine, leading to a fight with Nix. The bomb is accidentally thrown through a portal to an uninhabited island on Earth, the explosion pinning Nix's leg. Athena sees a vision of the future where Frank is shot by Nix, and she jumps in the way of his attack, mortally wounding herself beyond repair. Making peace with Frank, Athena activates her self-destruct sequence, destroying the machine, which falls on Nix, killing him. In the present, Casey and Frank leave Tomorrowland, recruit Eddie and Nate, and create a new group of recruitment animatronics like Athena, whom they were addressing at the beginning of the film. Given pins, the animatronic children set out to recruit new dreamers and thinkers for Tomorrowland. Cast: George Clooney as Frank Walker, a grizzled inventor who was banished from Tomorrowland decades ago by its leader, David Nix. Thomas Robinson as young Frank Walker. Hugh Laurie as David Nix, leader/governor of Tomorrowland. Britt Robertson as Casey Newton, an optimistic and tech-savvy teenager. Shiloh Nelson as young Casey Newton. Rafe Cassidy as Athena, an audio animatronic android recruiter. Tim McGraw as Eddie Newton, Casey's father and a NASA engineer. Catherine Hahn as Ursula, store owner and one of Nix's agents. Keegan-Michael Key as Hugo Gernsback, store owner and another of Nix's agents. Matthew McCall as Dave Clark, the leader of Nix's group of audio animatronic assassins. Pierce Gagnon as Nate Newton, Casey's younger brother. Chris Bauer as Mr. Walker, Frank's father. Judy Greer as Jenny Newton, Casey's mother. Gary Chalk as jail desk jockey. Production. Development. In 2010, Damon Lindelof began discussions with Walt Disney Studios about producing a modern science fiction Disney film, with Tomorrowland as a basis. The project was greenlit by Walt Disney Pictures President of Production, Sean Bailey in June 2011, with Lindelof signed on to write and produce a film with the working title of 1952. Lindelof asked Jeff Jensen, who had previously published material on Lindelof's Lost television series, if he would be interested in contributing to story elements. Jensen agreed and began to research the history of the Walt Disney Company, particularly Walt Disney's fascination with futurism, scientific innovation, and utopia, as well as his involvement with the 1964 New York World's Fair and Disney's unrealized concept for Epcot. In May 2012, Brad Bird was hired as director, as well as write with Lindelof. Bird's story ideas and themes were influenced by the fading of cultural optimism that once defined society in the 1950s, 1960s, and early 1970s, stating that, "When Damon and I were first talking about the project, we were wondering why people's once bright notions about the future gradually seemed to disappear." 17. While keeping information about the plot secret, when asked in November 2012 whether the project would be Star Wars, Episode 7, Bird denied the rumor, but confirmed that Tomorrowland would be a science fiction film, 18, with Lindelof adding that the film would not center on extraterrestrials. 19. Coincidentally, Bird had been tapped to direct Star Wars, Episode 7, but turned down the offer in order to work on Tomorrowland. 20. Later that month, George Clooney entered negotiations to star in the film. 21. In February 2013, Hugh Laurie joined the film. 22-23. In July 2013, Britt Robertson was cast. 24. On January 23, 2013, nearly a week before the title change, Bird tweeted a picture related to the project. The image showed a frayed cardboard box labeled 1952, supposedly uncovered from the Walt Disney Imagineering Developmental Unit 25 and containing items like archival photographs of Walt Disney, Technicolor film, envelopes, a vinyl record, space technology literature, a 1928 copy of an Amazing Stories magazine, which introduced Philip Francis Nolan's Buck Rogers character, and an unidentified metal object. 26 On August 10, 2013, Britt and Lindelof gave a presentation at the D23 Expo in Anaheim, California, where they opened the 1952 box and revealed many of its contents. 27 later that day a pavilion was unveiled on the D23 Expo show floor which presented the items for close inspection by guests. There was also an accompanying iPhone app 28 which took viewers through the exhibit much like one would experience at a museum. Michael Giacchino was hired to compose the film music. 29. Originally, the film included overt references to Walt Disney's involvement with Plus Ultra, the fictional organization founded by Gustav Eiffel, Jules Verne, Nikola Tesla, and Thomas Edison, including the idea that Disneyland's Tomorrowland was intended to be a cover-up for the real one developed by the group. However, the scenes and dialogue were omitted from the final cut of the film. 30 Pixar Animation Studios created an animated short film, narrated by Maurice LaMarche, that explained the backstory of Plus Ultra, which was planned to be incorporated into an excised scene where a young Frank Walker is transported beneath the It's a Small World attraction, and through an informative series of displays, reminiscent of Disney dark rides. 31. Filming. The Science Museum of the City of Arts and Sciences in Valencia was used as a background in the film. Principal photography commenced in Enderby, British Columbia on August 8, 2013 32-33 and also filmed in Vancouver. 34 In October, Catherine Hahn was cast as a character named Ursula. 35 That same month, it was announced that part of the filming would take place in the City of Arts and Sciences in Valencia. 36 In November, scenes depicting the Newtons' hometown were shot at New Smyrna Beach, and the Carousel of Progress attraction at Walt Disney World in Florida. 37 On February 3, 2014, additional filming took place at the It's a Small World attraction at Disneyland in California. 38 and wrapped on February 6. 39 The film's production designers incorporated the designs of Space Mountain and Spaceship Earth as architectural features of the Tomorrowland cityscape. 40-41 Per a suggestion by Britt during production, the Walt Disney Pictures opening production logo features the Tomorrowland skyline instead of the studio's conventional fantasy castle. 42 Industrial Light and Magic created the visual effects for Tomorrowland. 43. During post-production, a number of scenes featuring actress Judy Greer as Jenny Newton, Casey's, Robertson, late mother were cut in order to improve the film's runtime. Greer's role was reduced to minor cameo, while actor Lachlan Monroe, who portrayed Casey's live-in Uncle Anthony, had his scenes removed completely. 44. Music. Main article, Tomorrowland, soundtrack. The musical score for Tomorrowland was composed by Britt's recurrent collaborator Michael Giacchino. A soundtrack album was released digitally on May 19, 2015, followed by a physical release on June 2, 2015. Songs not included on the album, but featured in the film include There's a Great Big Beautiful Tomorrow and It's a Small World, After All, both written by Richard M. Sherman and Robert B. Sherman, and I Got Mine by the Black Keys. 10. Release. Alternate reality game. The Optimist, an alternate reality game, was created by Walt Disney Imagineering with Walt Disney Studios to create the world of Tomorrowland and to introduce the movie to the Disney theme park fan base. It occurred in a fictionalized version of Disney history and players interacted with multiple characters that led them on a hunt across a variety of places with clues and puzzles leading to more. It ran from July 3, 2013 to August 11, 2013, leading players around the Anaheim area and within Disneyland, culminating at the D23 Expo. 45 46 47. Prequel book. Before Tomorrowland, a prequel tie-in novel to the film, was published by Disney Press on April 7, 2015. 48 written by Brad Bird, Damon Lindelof, Jeff Jensen, and Jonathan Case. Theatrical. Tomorrowland held its world premiere at the Disneyland Resort in Anaheim, California on May 9, 2015. The film was released on May 22, 2015, in theaters and IMAX 49 and was the first film to be released in Dolby Vision format and Dolby Cinema. 50-51-52. Despite owning the trademark to the word Tomorrowland in the United States since 1970, Disney released the film in the United Kingdom as Tomorrowland, A World Beyond, and as Project T in several European markets, including the Netherlands, Belgium, and Luxembourg, because ID&T had previously registered the trademark in 2005, for their electronic musical festival of the same name. 53-54 In compliance to Disney's ownership of the trademark in the United States, ID&T renamed the American version of their music festival as Tomorrow World. 55. Home Media. Tomorrowland was released by Walt Disney Studios Home Entertainment on Blu-ray, DVD, and digital download on October 13, 2015. 56 Upon its first week of release on home media in the US, the film debuted at number 3 at the Nielsen Videoscan First Alert chart, which tracks overall disc sales, and number 4 at the Blu-ray disc sales chart with 47% of unit sales coming from Blu-ray. 57 The film is currently available to stream on Disney+. 58. Reception. Box office. Tomorrowland grossed $93.4 million in the United States and Canada, and $115.6 million in other territories, for a worldwide total of $209.5 million against a production budget of $181.90 million. The Hollywood Reporter estimated that the film cost $280 million to produce and market, and noted that the financial losses by Disney finished anywhere between $120 and $150 million. 13 According to them, Tomorrowland was the third original tentpole film of 2015 to flop, following Jupiter Ascending and Seventh Son. 59 Walt Disney Studios Motion Pictures Distribution Chief, Dave Hollis, commented on the film's debut performance, saying, "Tomorrowland is an original movie and that's more of a challenge in this marketplace. We feel it's incredibly important for us as a company and as an industry to keep telling original stories." 60. In the United States and Canada, Tomorrowland was released on May 22, 2015, from 3,970 theaters in its opening weekend. 61 During the 4-day Memorial Day weekend, it grossed $42.7 million, the lowest opening for a big-budget tentpole since Disney's Prince of Persia, The Sands of Time, which opened to $37.8 million in 2010, coming in first place, after a close race with Pitch Perfect 2, which grossed $38.9 million in its second weekend. 462.63 Considering the film's $190 million budget, $283.30 million, including marketing costs, 59.64 Many media outlets considered the film's opening in the US and Canada a box office failure. 64.65.66 Critical response. Critics' reception of Tomorrowland was mixed, but director Brad Bird felt they made the film they set out to make. On the review aggregator website Rotten Tomatoes, 49% of 302 critics' reviews are positive, with an average rating of 5.9/10. The website's consensus reads, "Ambitious and visually stunning, Tomorrowland is unfortunately weighted down by uneven storytelling." 67 Metacritic, which uses a weighted average, assigned the film a score of 60 out of 100, based on 48 critics, indicating mixed or average reviews. 68 audiences polled by CinemaScore gave the film an average grade of B on an A to F scale. 61. Peter Travers of Rolling Stone gave the film 2.5 stars out of 4, saying Brad Bird's Tomorrowland, a noble failure about trying to succeed, is written and directed with such open-hearted optimism that you cheer it on even as it stumbles. 69 Stephanie Mary of The Washington Post gave the film 2 out of 4 stars, saying maybe the ultimate goal of Tomorrowland remains obscure because once you know where the story is headed, you realize it's a familiar tale. The movie can conjure up futuristic images, but the story is nothing we haven't seen before. 70 Moira MacDonald of the Seattle Times gave the film 2.5 stars out of 4, saying though it's made with great energy and inventiveness, there's something ultimately muddy about Tomorrowland. It's as if director Brad Bird got so caught up in the sets and effects and whooshing editing that the story somehow slipped away. 71 Colin Covert of the Star Tribune gave the film 2 out of 4 stars, saying a well-oiled machine of visuals, and yet a wobbling rattletrap of storytelling. The sci-fi fantasy Tomorrowland is an unwieldy clunker driven into the ditch at full speed. 72 James Berardinelli of RealViews.net gave the film 2.5 stars out of 4, saying for a while, it doesn't matter that the plot meanders. The story seems like a jigsaw puzzle inviting us to solve it. That's the fun part. However, when the resolution is presented, it underwhelms. 73 A.O. Scott of the New York Times gave the film a negative review, saying it's important to note that Tomorrowland is not disappointing in the usual way. It's not another glib, phoned-in piece of franchise mediocrity, but rather a work of evident passion and conviction. What it isn't is in any way convincing or enchanting. 74. Stephen Arie of the Philadelphia Inquirer gave the film 2.5 stars out of 4, saying unlikely to be remembered in decades to come or even in months to come, once the next teenage dystopian fantasy inserts itself into movie houses. 75. Ty Burr of the Boston Globe gave the film 2.5 stars out of 4, saying rapturous on a scene-by-scene basis and nearly incoherent when taken as a whole, the movie is idealistic and deranged, inspirational and very, very conflicted. 76 Stephen Whitty of the Star Ledger, Newark, gave the film 1.5 stars out of 4, saying strip Tomorrowland down to its essentials, and you get an ending out of I'd like to teach the world to sing and a moral which boils down to, just be positive, okay? So okay. I'm positive Tomorrowland was a disappointment. 77. David Adelstein of Vulture gave the film a positive review, stating that Tomorrowland is the most enchanting reactionary cultural diatribe ever made. It's so smart, so winsome, so utterly rejuvenating that you'll have to wait until your eyes have dried and your buzz has worn off before you can begin to argue with it. 78 Ng Ku Kong of The Wrap also wrote a positive review, saying Tomorrowland is a globe-trotting, time-traveling caper whose giddy visual whimsies and exuberant cartoon violence are undermined by a coy mystery that stretches as long as the line for Space Mountain on a hot summer day. 79 Brian Truitt of USA Today gave the film 3 out of 4 stars, saying a spectacular ride for most of it, and while you're a little let down at the end, you kind of want to jump back on and do it all over again. 80. Linda Barnard of the Toronto Star gave the film 3 out of 4 stars, saying Brad Bird presents a gorgeously wrought, hopeful future vision in Tomorrowland, infusing the family film with enough entertaining action and retro-themed whiz-bang to forgive an awkward opening and third-act weakness. 81 A.A. Dowd of the AV Club gave the film a B, saying Bird stages the PG mayhem with his usual grasp of dimension and space, his gift for action that's timed like physical comedy. He keeps the whole thing moving, even when it begins to feel bogged down by preachiness and sci-fi exposition. 82 Forrest Wickman, of Slate, said the film's politics might be a little incoherent, or naive. It is a kid's movie, after all. 83 Anthony Perrotta of Entropy commented that the film was inspired by the beliefs of both Walt Disney and Ayn Rand, similarly to Andrew Ryan, the villain in Bioshock who constructed Rapture, a city that resembles Tomorrowland in its secrecy and intention to encourage scientific development of idealists by isolating them from the rest of the world. 84 Amy Nicholson of LA Weekly gave the film a B+, saying Bird has made a film that every child should see. And if his $190 million dream flops, he'll be asking the same question as his movie, when did it become uncool to care? George Timothy Clooney, born May 6, 1961, is an American actor, filmmaker, and philanthropist. Known for his leading man roles on screen in both blockbuster and independent films, Clooney has received numerous accolades, including 2 Academy Awards, a BAFTA Award and 4 Golden Globe Awards, as well as nominations for 3 Primetime Emmy Awards and a Tony Award. His honors include the Cecil B. DeMille Award in 2015, the Honorary César in 2017, the AFI Life Achievement Award in 2018, and the Kennedy Center Honor in 2022. 2-3. Clooney's breakthrough role came as Dr. Doug Ross on the NBC medical drama ER, 1994-1999, for which he received 2 Primetime Emmy Award nominations. He established himself as a film star with roles in From Dusk Till Dawn, 1996, Out of Sight, 1998, Three Kings, 1999, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? 2000, and the Ocean's film series, 2001-2007. 4-5 He won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor for playing a CIA officer in Syriana, 2005. He received nominations for the Academy Award for Best Actor for his roles in Michael Clayton, 2007, Up in the Air, 2009, and The Descendants, 2011. He has also starred in Burn After Reading, 2008, Fantastic Mr. Fox, 2009, Gravity, 2013, and Hail, Caesar, 2016. Clooney has directed 9 feature films, including the spy film Confessions of a Dangerous Mind, 2002, the historical drama Good Night, and Good Luck, 2005, the political drama The Ides of March, 2011, the war film The Monuments Men, 2014, and the coming-of-age film The Tender Bar, 2021, starring Ben Affleck. He received the Academy Award for Best Picture for co-producing the political thriller Argo, 2012. He made his Broadway debut portraying Edward R. Murrow in the play adaptation of his 2005 film Good Night, and Good Luck, 2025, for which he earned a nomination for the Tony Award for Best Actor in a Play. Clooney was included on Time's annual Time 100 list, which identifies the most influential people in the world, every year from 2006 to 2009. 6. He is also noted for his political and economic activism, and has served as one of the United Nations Messengers of Peace since 2008. 7. 8. 9. Clooney is also a member of the Council on Foreign Relations. 10. Divorced from actress Talia Balsam, he has been married to human rights lawyer Amal Clooney since 2014, with whom he has 2 children. Early life. George Timothy Clooney 11 was born on May 6, 1961, in Lexington, Kentucky. 12-13 His mother, Nina Bruce, née Warren, 14 was a beauty queen and city councilwoman. His father, Nick Clooney, is a former anchorman and television host, including 5 years on the AMC network. 15 Clooney is of Irish, German, and English ancestry. 16 His maternal 4th great-grandmother, Mary Ann Sparrow, was the half-sister of Nancy Lincoln, mother of President Abraham Lincoln, making Clooney and President Lincoln half-first cousins 5 times removed. 17 18 19 Clooney has an older sister named Adelia, known as Ada. 20 Cabaret singer and actress Rosemary Clooney was an aunt. 12 Through Rosemary, his cousins include actors Miguel Ferrer, Raphael Ferrer, and Gabriel Ferrer, who is married to singer Debbie Boone. 21. Clooney was raised a strict Roman Catholic. 22 but said in 1998 that he did not know if he believed in heaven or even God. 23 He has said, "Yes, we were Catholic, big time, whole family, whole group." 24 He began his education at the Blessed Sacrament School in Fort Mitchell, Kentucky. He attended St. Michael's School in Worthington, Ohio, then Western Row Elementary School, a public school, in Mason, Ohio, from 1968 to 1974, and St. Susanna School in Mason, where he served as an altar boy. The Clooneys moved back to Kentucky when George was midway through the 7th grade. 25 In middle school, Clooney developed Bell's palsy, a medical condition that partially paralyzes the face. The malady went away within a year. In an interview with Larry King, he stated that yes, it goes away. It takes about 9 months to go away. It was the first year of high school, which was a bad time for having half your face paralyzed. 24. He also described one positive outcome of the condition: it's probably a great thing that it happened to me because it forced me to engage in a series of making fun of myself. And I think that's an important part of being famous. The practical jokes have to be aimed at you. 26. After his parents moved to Augusta, Kentucky, Clooney attended Augusta High School. He has stated that he earned all as an AB in school 12 and played baseball and basketball. He tried out to play professional baseball with the Cincinnati Reds in 1977, but he did not pass the first round of player cuts and was not offered a contract. 27. He attended Northern Kentucky University from 1979 to 1981, majoring in broadcast journalism, and very briefly attended the University of Cincinnati, but did not graduate from either. 28. He earned money selling women's shoes, selling insurance door-to-door, stocking shelves, working in construction, and cutting tobacco. 29. Career. Early work, 1978-1993. Clooney in 1995. Clooney's first role was as an extra in the television miniseries Centennial in 1978, which was based on the novel of the same name by James A. Michener and was partly filmed in Clooney's hometown of Augusta, Kentucky. 31. Clooney's first major role came in 1984 in the short-lived CBS sitcom E/R, not to be confused with ER, the long-running medical drama. He played a handyman on the series The Facts of Life and appeared as Bobby Hopkins, a detective, on an episode of The Golden Girls. In 1986, Clooney made his theater debut in the play Vicious about Sex Pistols musician Sid Vicious. 32. Clooney's first prominent role was a semi-regular supporting role in the sitcom Roseanne, playing Roseanne Barr's supervisor Booker Brooks, followed by the role of a construction worker on Baby Talk, a co-starring role on the CBS drama Bodies of Evidence as Detective Ryan Walker, and then a year-long turn as Det James Falconer on Sisters. In 1988, Clooney played one of the lead roles in the comedy horror film Return of the Killer Tomatoes. 33. In 1990, he starred in the short-lived ABC police drama Sunset Beat. 34. During this period, Clooney was a student at the Beverly Hills Playhouse Acting School for 5 years. 35. Breakthrough and Stardom, 1994-1999. Original cast of ER, 1994-1995, with Clooney third from the left. Clooney rose to fame when he played Dr. Doug Ross, alongside Anthony Edwards, Juliana Margulies, and Noah Weil, on the hit NBC medical drama ER from 1994 to 1999. ER was a cultural phenomenon. 36. And is now considered one of the all-time greatest television shows. 37-38. It was the most watched show in television for 3 years in its second, third, and fifth seasons, and average viewing figures often exceeded 30 million. 39-40-41. At its peak, the show attracted 47.8 million viewers. 42. After leaving the series in 1999, he made a cameo appearance in the 6th season and returned for a guest spot in the show's final season. 43. For his work on the series, Clooney received 2 Primetime Emmy Award nominations for Outstanding Lead Actor in a Drama Series in 1995 and 1996. 44-45. He also earned 3 Golden Globe Award nominations for Best Actor Television Series Drama in 1995, 1996, and 1997, losing to co-star Anthony Edwards. 46-47. Clooney began appearing in films while working on ER. His first major Hollywood role was in the horror comedy crime thriller From Dusk Till Dawn, directed by Robert Rodriguez and co-starring Harvey Keitel. He followed its success with the romantic comedy One Fine Day with Michelle Pfeiffer, and the action thriller The Peacemaker with Nicole Kidman. Clooney was then cast as Batman in Joel Schumacher's Batman and Robin, which was a modest box office performer, but a critical failure, with Clooney himself calling the film a waste of money. 48. In 1998, he co-starred in the crime comedy Out of Sight opposite Jennifer Lopez, marking the first of his many collaborations with director Steven Soderbergh. 49. He also starred in Three Kings during the last weeks of his contract with ER. 50. While ER was a hit, he expanded to form two production companies. The first production company he founded was Mirador Entertainment in February 1996, with former ABC Vice President Deborah Leone later serving as partner in July 1996, of which the company signed a 2-year deal with NBC via the NBC Studios production company. 51. The second he founded was Maysville Pictures, formerly Left Bank Productions, which was renamed due to a conflict with the music management firm, 52 named for his hometown, with partner Robert Lawrence, and signed a 3-year deal with Warner Brothers Pictures in November 1996. 51. In 1998, the NBC deal was replaced by a new TV deal for Maysville Pictures with Warner Brothers Television and CBS, shortly before leaving ER, and rendered Mirador Entertainment defunct. 53. In order to expand Maysville into the television business, the company hired Ben Cosgrove, Pam Williams, who runs the TV side, and Kevin Field to run the company. 54. In September 1999, Clooney split from producer Robert Lawrence in the Maysville partnership. 51. Leading man and directorial debut, 2000-2004. Brad Pitt, Matt Damon, and Clooney in 2001 promoting Ocean's 11 in Turkey. After leaving ER, Clooney starred in commercially successful films including Wolfgang Petersen's disaster film The Perfect Storm, 2000, which was a box office success. The same year he starred in the Coen Brothers adventure comedy Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? 2000, alongside John Turturro, Tim Blake Nelson and John Goodman. The film, a modern satire, is loosely based on Homer's epic Greek poem The Odyssey and the Preston Sturges' 1941 classic film Sullivan's Travels. This film is set in 1937 rural Mississippi during the Great Depression. He plays escaped convict Ulysses Everett McGill. He received a Golden Globe Award for Best Actor Motion Picture Musical or Comedy nomination for his performance. Variety critic Todd McCarthy compared Clooney to Clark Gable, writing, "Not for the first time recalling Clark Gable in his looks and line delivery, Clooney clearly delights in embellishing Everett's vanity and in delivering the Coen's carefully calibrated, high-toned dialogue." 55. Brad Pitt, Clooney, Matt Damon, Andy Garcia, Julia Roberts, and Steven Soderbergh publicize Ocean's 11, 2001. The following year in 2001, Clooney reunited with Soderbergh for the heist comedy Ocean's 11, a remake of the 1960s Rat Pack film of the same name, with Clooney playing Danny Ocean, originally portrayed by Frank Sinatra. The film starred Clooney, Brad Pitt, Julia Roberts, Matt Damon, and Andy Garcia. The film cemented Clooney as a leading film star. It is Clooney's most successful film with him in the lead role, earning $451 million worldwide. He appeared, but did not star, in Gravity, which has a $723 million worldwide box office. 56-57 Ocean's 11 inspired two sequels starring Clooney, Ocean's 12 in 2004, 58 and Ocean's 13 in 2007. 59 In 2001, Clooney and Soderbergh co-founded Section 8 Productions, for which Grant Huslove was president of television. The following year he would work with Soderbergh yet again in the science fiction drama Solaris, 2002, an adaptation of the acclaimed 1972 film directed by Andrei Tarkovsky. Roger Ebert praised the film and Clooney, writing, "Clooney has successfully survived being named People magazine's sexiest man alive by deliberately choosing projects that ignore that image." His alliance with Soderbergh, both as an actor and co-producer, shows a taste for challenge. 60 That same year Clooney made his directorial debut in the 2002 film Confessions of a Dangerous Mind, based on the autobiography of TV producer Chuck Barris. The film premiered out of competition at the Cannes Film Festival to critical acclaim. Though the film did not do well at the box office, critics stated that Clooney's directing showed promise. 61. In 2003, Clooney reunited with the Coen brothers in the romantic comedy Intolerable Cruelty opposite Catherine Zeta-Jones. Elvis Mitchell of the New York Times praised their chemistry and the casting of Clooney in the role, writing, "The good work comes from George Clooney, who happens to have the Art Deco profile fit for a 1930s comedy. He scores with his willingness to mock his above-average charisma level and the chiseled chin, cover guy good looks." 62. Established star and acclaim, 2005-2013. Clooney attending the premiere of The Men Who Stare at Goats at the 2009 Toronto International Film Festival. In 2005, Clooney starred in Syriana, which was based loosely on former Central Intelligence Agency agent Robert Baer's memoirs of his service in the Middle East. Clooney suffered an accident on the set of Syriana, which caused a brain injury with complications from a punctured dura. 63. The same year he directed, produced, and starred in Good Night, and Good Luck, a film about 1950s television journalist Edward R. Murrow's famous war of words with Senator Joseph McCarthy. At the 2006 Academy Awards, Clooney was nominated for Best Director and Best Original Screenplay for Good Night, and Good Luck, as well as Best Supporting Actor for Syriana. He won the Oscar for his role in Syriana. 64. Clooney next appeared in The Good German, 2006, a film noir directed by Soderbergh that is set in post-World War II Germany. In August 2006, Clooney and Huslove started the production company Smokehouse Pictures. In October 2006, Clooney received the American Cinematheque Award, which honors someone in the entertainment industry who has made a significant contribution to the art of motion pictures. 65. On January 22, 2008, Clooney was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Actor for Michael Clayton, 2007, losing to Daniel Day-Lewis, who won for Paul Thomas Anderson's drama There Will Be Blood, 2007. Later that year, he directed his third film, Leatherheads, in which he also starred. On April 4, 2008, Variety reported that Clooney had quietly resigned from the Writers Guild of America over a dispute concerning Leatherheads. Clooney, who is the director, producer, and star of the film, claimed that he had contributed in writing all but 2 scenes of it, and requested a writing credit alongside Duncan Brantley and Rick Riley, who had worked on the screenplay for 17 years. Clooney lost an arbitration vote 2-1, and withdrew from the union over the decision. He became a financial core status non-member, meaning he no longer has voting rights, and cannot run for office or attend membership meetings, according to the Writers Guild of America's Constitution. 66. Ewan McGregor, Grant Huslove, and Clooney at the Venice International Film Festival in 2009. In 2009, he starred in the war comedy The Men Who Stare at Goats alongside Ewan McGregor, Jeff Bridges, and Kevin Spacey. The film was directed by Huslove and released in November 2009. The film premiered at the Venice International Film Festival to positive reviews. Also in November 2009, he voiced the title character opposite Meryl Streep as Mrs. Fox in Wes Anderson's animated feature Fantastic Mr. Fox. The same year, Clooney starred in the Jason Reitman-directed comedy drama Up in the Air, which was initially given limited release, and then a wide release on December 25, 2009. Stephen Farber of The Hollywood Reporter praised Clooney's performance, writing, "Boasting one of George Clooney's strongest performances, the film seems like a surefire awards contender." 67. For his performance in the film he was nominated for a Golden Globe, a Screen Actors Guild Award, BAFTA, and an Academy Award. 68. The following year, Clooney produced and starred in the dark crime drama The American, 2010, based on the novel A Very Private Gentleman by Martin Booth and directed by Anton Corbijn. 69. As of 2011, Clooney is represented by Brian Loward, CO Chairman of Creative Artists Agency, CAA. 70. In 2011, Clooney starred in The Descendants as a husband whose wife has an accident that leaves her in a coma. He earned critical praise for his work, and won the Broadcast Film Critics Association Award for Best Actor and the Golden Globe Award for Best Actor Motion Picture Drama. Also, he was nominated for the Screen Actors Guild for Best Actor, the BAFTA Award for Best Actor, and the Academy Award for Best Actor. He was nominated for the Academy Award for Best Adapted Screenplay for the political drama The Ides of March. In 2013, Clooney won the Golden Globe Award for Best Motion Picture Drama, the BAFTA Award for Best Picture and the Academy Award for Best Picture for producing Argo. The following year, Clooney co-starred with Sandra Bullock in Gravity, 2013, a space thriller directed by Alfonso Cuarón. 71. In 2013, Clooney co-founded Casamigos Tequila with Rand Gerber and Michael Meldman. 72. It was sold to Diageo for $700 million in June 2017, with an additional $300 million possible depending on the company's performance over the next 10 years. 73. According to the Forbes annual ranking, he was the world's highest paid actor for 2017-2018, earning $239 million between June 1, 2017, and June 1, 2018. 74. Focus on directing and Broadway debut, 2014-present. Jodie Foster, Jack O'Connell, Julia Roberts, and Clooney at the 2016 Cannes Film Festival for Money Monster. In 2014, Clooney co-wrote, directed and starred in The Monuments Men, an adaptation of The Monuments Men, Allied Heroes, Nazi Thieves, and The Greatest Treasure Hunt in History by Robert M. Edsel. 75. The film starred an ensemble cast of A-list stars including Matt Damon, Cate Blanchett, Bill Murray, John Goodman, and Bob Balaban, as well as European stars Hugh Bonneville and Jean Dujardin. The film was a critical misfire and a box office failure. 76. Many historians were critical of the film for its historical inaccuracies. The Guardian film critic Andrew Pulver panned the film, writing that the film was filled with unearned patriotic sentiment, sketchy to the point of inanity, and interrupted every few minutes with neurotic self-justification. 77. That same year, Clooney produced August, Osage County, 2013, an adaptation of the play of the same name. The film stars Meryl Streep and Julia Roberts. 78. His next film was Tomorrowland, 2015, a science fiction adventure film in which he played Frank Walker, an inventor. 79. Later in the year, he was featured as himself in the Netflix Christmas musical comedy A Very Merry Christmas, starring Bill Murray. 80. The following year, he starred in Hail, Caesar, a comedy from the Coen brothers set in the Hollywood film industry in the 1950s, which premiered in February 2016. Clooney portrayed Baird Whitlock, a Robert Taylor-type film star who is kidnapped during the production of a film. Josh Brolin co-starred as fixer Eddie Mannix. 81. Clooney reunited with Julia Roberts for the Jodie Foster-directed thriller Money Monster, 2016, playing the host of a television show that investigates conspiracies on commerce and Wall Street, who is taken hostage by a bankrupt viewer given a bad tip. 82. Clooney with President Barack Obama in 2016. In October 2017, his directorial project Suburb Icon, a 1950s set crime comedy, was released. It stars Matt Damon, Julianne Moore, and Oscar Isaac, from a script written by the Coen brothers in the 1980s, that they had originally intended to direct themselves. 83. He received the 2018 AFI Life Achievement Award on June 7, 2018. 84. The award was presented to him by Shirley MacLaine, and was honored by Juliana Margulies, Cate Blanchett, Bill Murray, Anna Kendrick, Jimmy Kimmel, Jennifer Aniston, Courtney Cox, and his wife Amal Clooney. 85. In 2019, Clooney returned to television, starring, directing and producing the Hulu historical miniseries Catch-22, based upon the novel of the same name by Joseph Heller. 86. Clooney was initially cast in a main role in the series, however, he opted to take a smaller supporting role instead. 87. The series premiered on May 31, 2019, to critical acclaim. 88. After a 4-year absence from acting in film, Clooney starred in the science fiction film The Midnight Sky, a film he also directed and produced. based upon the Lily Brooks Dalton debut novel Good Morning, Midnight for Netflix. 89-90 he co-starred opposite Felicity Jones and David Oyelowo. The film received mixed reviews and was a financial flop. It went on to receive a nomination for the Academy Award for Best Visual Effects. He also directed The Tender Bar, based upon the memoir of the same name by J.R. Moringer, for Amazon Studios with Ben Affleck in the lead. The coming-of-age film had its nationwide premiere on December 22, 2021, and began streaming on Amazon Prime Video on January 7, 2022. 91 Despite receiving mixed reviews from critics, the film earned Affleck Screen Actors Guild Award and Golden Globe Award nominations for Best Supporting Actor. Clooney at the 81st Venice International Film Festival. In February 2021, The Hollywood Reporter reported that Clooney's Smokehouse Pictures would be teaming with Sports Illustrated Studios and 101 Studios to produce a docuseries about the Ohio State University abuse scandal, and that the series would be based on an October 2020 Sports Illustrated article by John Wertheim. 92 HBO announced in June 2022 that the documentary, now a feature-length film, had started production with a planned debut on HBO and HBO Max. 93-94 The film, titled Surviving Ohio State, is scheduled for release on June 17, 2025. 95. In 2022, he reunited with Julia Roberts for a romantic comedy film Ticket to Paradise directed by O.L. Parker. It was initially set to release in theaters on September 30, 2022, but was pushed by a month to October 21, 2022. 96-97 In 2023, Clooney reprised the role of Bruce Wayne/Batman in a cameo in The Flash. Clooney's next film as a director was the biographical sports drama The Boys in the Boat, which was released on December 25, 2023. The film starred Callum Turner and Joel Edgerton and received mixed reviews. The film was based on the book of the same name by Daniel James Brown. Clooney reteamed with Brad Pitt for the Apple TV thriller film Wolves, 2024, written and directed by John Watts, which premiered to positive reviews 98 at the Venice International Film Festival. 99-100 In 2025, Clooney made his Broadway debut as an actor in the stage adaptation of Good Night, and Good Luck, where he is currently portraying Edward R. Murrow. He and Grant Heslov also serve as the playwrights, having adapted the play from their 2005 film of the same name. 101-32 The production received mostly positive reviews, with critics praising Clooney's performance, his sincerity to the material, its timely subject matter, and its lavish scenic design. Jesse Green of the New York Times praised Clooney's performance, describing it as being full of wit, integrity, and charming modesty. 102 Sarah Holden of Vulture wrote, "Clooney, probably the closest thing contemporary Hollywood has to a Cary Grant, carries a sense of responsibility onto the stage." 103 The production was nominated for 5 Tony Awards, including Best Actor in a Play for Clooney. 104 The production was aired live, the first for a Broadway show, and was shown on CNN and HBO and was a ratings success. 105 Clooney is set to star alongside Laura Dern and Adam Sandler in Noah Baumbach drama DJ Kelly for Netflix. 106 Activism and public advocacy. Political views. Clooney supported both of Barack Obama's 2008 107 and 2012 presidential campaigns. 108 Clooney endorsed Hillary Clinton for the 2016 presidential election. 109 Clooney has also made humorous statements against Republican Party figures. In 2006, Clooney sarcastically thanked Jack Abramoff at the 63rd Golden Globe Awards before concluding with who would name their kid Jack with off at the end. No wonder the guys screwed up. 110 Clooney has also described Republican donor Steve Wynn as an asshole and a jackass, after the two had a heated disagreement over the Affordable Care Act. 111 Relationship with Joe Biden. Clooney endorsed Joe Biden for the 2020 presidential election. 112 and he hosted a virtual fundraiser for Biden together with Obama in July 2020. 113 In a July 2024 op-ed for the New York Times, Clooney called for Biden to withdraw from the 2024 presidential election after a debate where Biden had underperformed, with many critics citing his age as a significant factor. Clooney wrote of his friendship with Biden saying, "I love Joe Biden. As a senator, as a vice president and as president, I consider him a friend, and I believe in him. Believe in his character. Believe in his morals. In the last 4 years, he's won many of the battles he's faced." However, he stated that, "I saw Biden 3 weeks ago at my fundraiser for him. It's devastating to say it, but he is not the same man he was, and he won't win this fall." In the piece he called on there to be a new nominee, citing a possible primary at the Democratic National Convention. 114, 115, 116. In 2025, while promoting his Broadway play Good Night, and Good Luck, Clooney stated that he stood by his choice in writing the op-ed, saying, "I was raised to tell the truth. I feel as if there was a lot of profiles in cowardice in my party. I was not proud of that. I also believed I had to tell the truth." 117. Humanitarian work. Clooney in Abesh, Chad, in January 2008 with the United Nations. Clooney is involved with Not on Our Watch Project, an organization that focuses global attention and resources to stop and prevent mass atrocities, along with Brad Pitt, Matt Damon, Don Cheadle, David Pressman, and Jerry Weintraub. 118 In February 2009, he visited Gazbida, Chad, with New York Times columnist Nicholas D. Kristof. 119 In January 2010, he organized the telethon Hope for Haiti Now 120, which collected donations for the 2010 Haiti earthquake victims. 121. In March 2012, Clooney starred with Martin Sheen and Brad Pitt in a performance of Dustin Lance Black's Play 8, a staged reenactment of the federal trial that overturned California's Prop 8 ban on same-sex marriage as attorney David Boies. 122 The production was held at the Wilshire Ebel Theatre and broadcast on YouTube to raise money for the American Foundation for Equal Rights. 123 124 In September 2012, Clooney offered to take an auction winner out to lunch to benefit the Gay, Lesbian and Straight Education Network, Colson. Colson works to create a safe space in schools for children who are or may be perceived to be gay, lesbian, bisexual or transgender. 125. On August 7, 2020, George and Amal Clooney donated $100,000 to 3 Lebanese charities after the capital, Beirut, was left devastated by a deadly explosion. They donated money to the Lebanese Red Cross, Impact Lebanon, and Beitna Baitak. The blast claimed the lives of at least 145 people and injured more than 5,000. 126. War in Darfur, Sudan. Clooney with Vice President Joe Biden in 2009. Clooney has advocated a resolution of the Darfur conflict. 127 He spoke at a 2006 Save Darfur rally in Washington, D.C. In April 2006, he spent 10 days in Chad and Sudan with his father to make the TV special A Journey to Darfur, reflecting the situation of Darfur's refugees, and advocated for action. The documentary was broadcast on American cable TV as well as in the UK and France. In 2008, it was released on DVD, with the sale proceeds being donated to the International Rescue Committee. 128 129 130 131 In September of the same year, he spoke to the UN Security Council with Nobel Prize winner Elie Wiesel to ask the UN to find a solution to the conflict and to help the people of Darfur. 132 In December, he visited China and Egypt with Don Cheadle and 2 Olympic winners to ask both governments to pressure Sudan's government. 133. On March 25, 2007, he sent an open letter to German Chancellor Angela Merkel, calling on the European Union to take decisive action in the region given the failure of Sudan President Omar al-Bashir to respond to UN resolutions. 134 He narrated and was CEO executive producer of the 2007 documentary Sand and Sorrow. 135 Clooney also appeared in the documentary film Darfur Now, a call-to-action film released in November 2007 for people all over the world to help stop the Darfur crisis. 136 In December 2007, Clooney and fellow actor Don Cheadle received the Summit Peace Award from the Nobel Peace Prize laureates in Rome. In his acceptance speech, Clooney said that Don and I stand here before you as failures. The simple truth is that when it comes to the atrocities in Darfur, those people are not better off now than they were years ago. 137 On January 18, 2008, the United Nations announced Clooney's appointment as a UN Messenger of Peace, effective January 31. 7-8. Clooney discusses Sudan with President Barack Obama at the White House in October 2010. Clooney conceived of and, with John Prendergast, human rights activist, co-founder of the Enough Project, and strategic advisor for Not On Our Watch Project, initiated the Satellite Sentinel Project, SSP, after an October 2010 trip to South Sudan. SSP aims to monitor armed activity for signs of renewed civil war between Sudan and South Sudan, and to detect and deter mass atrocities along the border regions there. 138. Clooney and Prendergast co-wrote a Washington Post op-ed piece in May 2011, titled Dancing with a Dictator in Sudan, arguing that President Omar al-Bashir has been indicted by the International Criminal Court for genocide, is escalating bombing and food aid obstruction in Darfur, and he now threatens the entire North-South peace process. The evidence shows that incentives alone are insufficient to change Khartoum's calculations. International support should be sought immediately for denying debt relief, expanding the ICC indictments, diplomatically isolating the regime, suspending all non-humanitarian aid, obstructing state-controlled bank transactions and freezing accounts holding oil wealth diverted by senior regime officials. 139. On March 16, 2012, Clooney was arrested outside the Sudanese embassy for civil disobedience. 141 He intended to be arrested when he planned the protest. 141 Several other prominent participants were also arrested, including Martin Luther King III. 141 Clooney has been described as one of the most strident critics of Omar al-Bashir. 142. Armenian genocide recognition. Clooney supports recognition of the Armenian genocide. He is one of the chief associates of the 100 Lives Initiative, a project which aims to remember the lives lost during the event. 143 As part of the initiative, Clooney launched the Aurora Prize, which awards to those who risk their lives to prevent genocides and atrocities. 144 Clooney had also urged various American government officials to support the United States recognition of the Armenian genocide. 144 He also visited Armenia to commemorate the 101st anniversary of the event in April 2016. 145. Syrian refugees. In May 2015, Clooney told the BBC that the Syrian conflict was too complicated politically to get involved in and he wanted to focus on helping the refugees. 146 In March 2016, he and his wife Amal met with Syrian refugees living in Berlin to mark the 5th anniversary of the conflict, before meeting with German Chancellor Angela Merkel to thank her for Germany's open-door policy. 147. U.S. gun control. In 2018, following the Stoneman Douglas High School shooting, the Clooneys pledged $500,000 to the March for Our Lives and said they would be in attendance. 148. LGBTQ rights. Clooney is a supporter of LGBTQ rights. 149 On March 28, 2019, Clooney wrote an open letter calling for the boycott of the Sultan of Brunei's hotels over a new law that came into force on April 3, 2019, that punishes homosexual sex and adultery with death by stoning. Clooney lists 9 hotels including the Dorchester, 45 Park Lane Coworth Park, the Beverly Hills Hotel, Hotel Bel Air, Le Muris, Hotel Plaza Athénée, Hotel Eden, and Hotel Principe di Savoia, and asks readers to consider how we are putting money directly into the pockets of men who choose to stone and whip to death their own citizens for being gay or accused of adultery. 151. Personal life. Relationships. George and Amal Clooney at the 66th Berlin International Film Festival in Germany in 2016. Clooney dated actress Kelly Preston from 1987 to 1989. During this relationship, he purchased a Vietnamese pot-bellied pig named Max as a gift for Preston, but when their relationship ended, Clooney kept the pig for an additional 18 years until Max died in 2006. He has jokingly referred to Max as the longest relationship he had ever had. 152. Clooney was married to actress Talia Balsam from 1989 to 1993. 153. He also had a relationship with actress Ginger Lynn Allen. 154. 155. 156. In 1995, Clooney dated Cameron Diaz and Frances Fisher. 157. Clooney dated French reality TV personality Céline Balitran, 1996-1999. 158. In 2000, he was linked to Charlize Theron and Lucy Liu. 159. After meeting British model Lisa Snowdon in 2000, he had a 5-year on-again, off-again relationship with her. 160. Clooney dated Renee Zellweger, 2001, Jennifer Siebel Newsom, 2002, 161. Krista Allen, 2002-2008, 162. And Linda Thompson, 2006. 163. In June 2007, he started dating reality personality Sarah Larson, but the couple broke up in May 2008. 164. In July 2009, Clooney was in a relationship with Italian actress Elisabetta Canellis until they split in June 2011. 165. 166. In July 2011, Clooney started dating former WWE personnel Stacy Keibler. 167. And they ended their relationship in July 2013. 168. Clooney became engaged to British-Lebanese human rights lawyer Amal Alamuddin on April 28, 2014. 169. 170. He subsequently said they forged a strong bond because of their interest in campaigning work, and particularly over the issue of the Elgin marbles, when she was acting for the government of Greece in support of their return from the British Museum, and he, while promoting his film The Monuments Men, had argued for this and been criticised by the Mayor of London, Boris Johnson. 171. In July 2014, Clooney publicly mocked the British tabloid newspaper Daily Mail after it claimed his fiancée's mother opposes their marriage on religious grounds. 172. When the tabloid apologized for its false story, Clooney refused to accept the apology. He called the paper the worst kind of tabloid, one that makes up its facts to the detriment of its readers. 173. On August 7, 2014, Clooney and Alamuddin obtained marriage licenses at the Royal Borough of Kensington and Chelsea of the United Kingdom. 174. Alamuddin and Clooney were officially married on September 27, 2014, at Ca Farsetti. 175. They were married by Clooney's friend Walter Veltroni, the former mayor of Rome. 176. In 2015, Clooney and Alamuddin adopted a rescue dog, a basset hound named Millie, from the San Gabriel Valley Humane Society. 177. On February 9, 2017, it was reported by the CBS talk show, The Talk, that Amal was pregnant, and that they were expecting twins. 178. On June 6, 2017, Amal gave birth to a daughter, Ella, and a son, Alexander. 179. In 2020, Clooney revealed to Jimmy Kimmel and Graham Norton on their respective talk shows that the twins can speak Italian fluently, despite neither Clooney nor Alamuddin speaking the language. 180. Real estate. Clooney has property in Los Angeles, He purchased the 7,354 square foot, 683.2 square meters, house in 1995 through his George Guilfoyle Trust. His home in Italy is in the village of Lalio, on Lake Como 181 near the former residence of Italian author Ada Negri. 182 Clooney also owns a home in Los Cabos, Mexico, that is next door to the home of Cindy Crawford and Rand Gerber. 183 In 2014, Clooney and his wife Amal Alamuddin bought the Grade 2 listed 184 mill house on an island in the River Thames at Sonning Eye in Oxfordshire, England. 185 at a cost of around £10 million. 186 In May 2021, The Economic Times reported Clooney plans to buy a vineyard near the village of Brignoles, in France, which includes an 18th-century manor with its own swimming pool and a tennis court. 187. Motorcycle accidents. On September 21, 2007, Clooney and then-girlfriend Sarah Larson were injured in a motorcycle accident in Weehawken, New Jersey, when his motorcycle was hit by a car. The driver of the car reported that Clooney attempted to pass him on the right 188 while Clooney said that the driver signaled left and then decided to make an abrupt right turn and clipped his motorcycle. On October 9, 2007, more than 24 staff at Palisades Medical Center were suspended without pay for looking at Clooney's medical records in violation of federal law. 189. On July 10, 2018, Clooney was hit by a car while riding a motorcycle to a film set in Sardinia. He was hospitalized with minor injuries. 191. Sports. Growing up around Cincinnati, Clooney is a fan of the Cincinnati Bengals and Cincinnati Reds. 192 He tried out for the Reds in 1977. 193 Clooney is also an association football fan and supports EFL Championship club Derby County. 194 195. Relationship with the media. In November 2021, Clooney wrote an op-ed to British tabloid The Daily Mail, petitioning them to stop publishing photos of his children, highlighting that his wife is an international lawyer who works confronting and putting on trial terrorist groups and that the tabloid was endangering their lives. In 2014, Clooney had rejected an apology from the Daily Mail for printing a false story, calling the Mail the worst kind of tabloid. 196. In the media. Clooney has appeared in commercials outside the U.S. for Fiat, Nespresso, Martini Vermouth, Omega, Warburtons, and DNB ASA Eendom, a Norwegian bank and real estate agency. 197 198 199 200 201 202 Clooney was named one of Time's 100 most influential people in the world in 2007, 2008 and 2009. 203 204 205 He is sometimes described as one of the most handsome men in the world. 206 207 In 2005, TV Guide ranked Clooney number 1 on its 50 sexiest stars of all time list. 208 The cover story in a February 2008 issue of Time was headlined with, George Clooney, the last movie star. 209. He was parodied in the South Park episode Smug Alert, which criticizes his acceptance speech at the 78th Academy Awards, which The Atlantic called arrogant, smug, and condescending. 210 Clooney has also lent his voice to South Park as Sparky the dog in Big Gay Al's Big Gay Boat Ride and as the emergency room doctor in South Park, Bigger, Longer and Uncut. Clooney was caricatured in the American Dad! episode Tears of a Clooney, in which Francine Smith plans to destroy him. 211. Acting credits and accolades. Main articles, George Clooney filmography and list of awards and nominations received by George Clooney. During his career, Clooney has won 2 Academy Awards, one for Best Supporting Actor for his role in Syrian at 212 and one for Best Picture as one of the producers for Argo, as well as a BAFTA and a Golden Globe. As of 2023, he is one of 4 people to have been nominated for Academy Awards in 6 different categories. 214 for his role in The Descendants. He won a Golden Globe Award 215 and was nominated for an Academy Award, BAFTA Award, Satellite Award, and 2 Screen Actors Guild Awards, Best Lead Actor and Best Cast. 216 in 2015, Clooney was awarded the Golden Globe Cecil B. DeMille Lifetime Achievement Award. In 2025, he was honored with a Theatre World Award for his performance in Good Night, and Good Luck on Broadway. Publications: The Key to Making Peace in Africa for Foreign Affairs, by George Clooney and John Prendergast. 217. I Love Joe Biden, but we need a new nominee for the New York Times, by George Clooney. James Hugh Laurie, / born June 11, 1959, is an English actor, comedian, singer, musician, and writer. He first gained professional recognition as a member of the English comedy double act Fry and Laurie with Stephen Fry. Fry and Laurie acted together in a number of projects during the 1980s and 1990s, including the BBC sketch comedy series A Bit of Fry and Laurie and the P.G. Wodehouse adaptation Jeeves and Wooster. From 1986 to 1989 he appeared in 3 series of the period comedy Blackadder, first as a recurring guest star in the last 2 episodes of Blackadder 2, before joining the main cast in Blackadder the Third, and going on to appear in Blackadder Goes Forth and many related specials. From 2004 to 2012, Laurie starred as Dr. Gregory House on the Fox medical drama series House. He received 2 Golden Globe Awards and many other accolades for the role. He was listed in the 2011 Guinness World Records as the most watched leading man on television and was one of the highest paid actors in a television drama at the time. 1, 2, 3 His other television credits include starring as arms dealer Richard Onslow Roper, the main antagonist in the miniseries The Night Manager, 2016, for which he won his 3rd Golden Globe, and playing Senator Tom James in the HBO sitcom Veep, 2015-2019, for which he received his 10th Emmy Award nomination. Laurie has appeared in the films Peter's Friends, 1992, Sense and Sensibility, 1995, 101 Dalmatians, 1996, The Borrowers, 1997, The Man in the Iron Mask, 1998, Stuart Little, 1999, Life with Judy Garland, Me and My Shadows, 2001, Flight of the Phoenix, 2004, Tomorrowland, 2015, Arthur Christmas, 2011, in which he voiced Stephen Kloss, and The Personal History of David Copperfield, 2020. For outside acting, as a singer and musician, he released the blues albums Let Them Talk, 2011, and Didn't It Rain, 2013, both to favorable reviews. Laurie wrote the novel The Gun Seller, 1996. He was appointed Officer of the Order of the British Empire, OBE, in the 2007 New Year Honours and CBE in the 2018 New Year Honours, both for services to drama. 5. Early life. Laurie was born on June 11, 1959, in the Blackbird Leys area of Oxford 6-7, the youngest of 4 children of Patricia, née Laidlaw, and William George Ranald Mundell Ran Laurie, who was a physician and winner of an Olympic gold medal in the coxless pairs, rowing, at the 1948 London Games. 7-8 He has an older brother, Charles Alexander Lyon Mundell Laurie 7 and 2 older sisters, Susan and Janet. 9-10 He had a strained relationship with his mother 7-11 whom he noted as Presbyterian by character, by mood. 7 He later said, I was frustration to her. She didn't like me. 7 His mother died from motor neurone disease in 1989, at the age of 73. According to Laurie, she endured the disease for 2 years and suffered painful, plodding paralysis while being cared for by Laurie's father, whom he has called the sweetest man in the whole world. 10. Laurie's parents, who were both of Scottish descent, attended St. Columba's Presbyterian Church, now United Reformed Church, 12 in Oxford. 13-14 He notes that belief in God didn't play a large role in his home, but a certain attitude to life and the living of it did. 7. He followed this by stating, "Pleasure was something that was treated with great suspicion, pleasure was something that I was going to say it had to be earned, but even the earning of it didn't really work. It was something to this day, I mean, I carry that with me. I find pleasure a difficult thing, I don't know what you do with it, I don't know where to put it." 7. He later stated, "I don't believe in God, but I have this idea that if there were a God, or destiny of some kind looking down on us, that if he saw you taking anything for granted, he'd take it away." 15. Laurie was brought up in Oxford and attended the Dragon School from 7 to 13, later stating, "I was, in truth, a horrible child. Not much given to things of a booky nature. I spent a large part of my youth smoking number 6 and cheating in French vocabulary tests." 16. He went on to Eton College, which he described as the most private of private schools. 7. He arrived at Selwyn College, Cambridge, in 1978-17, which he says he attended as a result of family tradition since his father went there. 7. Laurie notes that his father was a successful rower at Cambridge and that he was trying to follow in his father's footsteps. 7. He studied archaeology and anthropology, specializing in social anthropology. 18. And graduated with third-class honors in 1981. 19. Like his father, Laurie rowed at school and university. 7. In 1977, he was a member of the junior coxed pair that won the British national title before representing Britain's youth team at the 1977 Junior World Rowing Championships. In 1980, Laurie and his rowing partner, J.S. Palmer, were runners-up in the Silver Goblets 20 coxless pairs for Eton Vikings Rowing Club. He also achieved a blue while taking part in the 1980 Oxford and Cambridge boat race. 21. Cambridge lost that year by 5 feet. 22. During this time, Laurie was training for up to 8 hours a day and was on course to become an Olympic standard rower. 23. He is a member of the Leander Club, one of the oldest rowing clubs in the world, and was a member of the Hermes Club and Hawks Club. 7. Career: comedy and acting. Laurie in 2005. Forced to abandon rowing during a bout of glandular fever, Laurie joined the Cambridge Footlights 24, a university dramatic club that has produced many well-known actors and comedians, including members of the popular British surreal comedy group, Monty Python. There he met Emma Thompson, with whom he had a romantic relationship. The two remain good friends. 7. She introduced him to his future comedy partner, Stephen Fry. Laurie, Fry, and Thompson later parodied themselves as the University Challenge representatives of Footlights College, Oxbridge in Bambi, an episode of The Young Ones, with the series CO writer Ben Elton completing their team. 25. In 1980-81, his final year at university, besides rowing, Laurie was president of the Footlights, with Thompson as vice president. They took their annual review, The Cellar Tapes, to the Edinburgh Fringe Festival and won the first Perrier Comedy Award, which was presented to them by Rowan Atkinson. The review was written principally by Laurie and Fry, and the cast also included Thompson, Tony Slattery, Paul Shearer, and Penny Dwyer. The Perrier Award led to a West End transfer for The Cellar Tapes and a television version of the review, broadcast in May 1982. It resulted in Laurie, Fry, and Thompson being selected, along with Ben Elton, Robbie Coltrane, and Siobhan Redmond, to write and appear in a new sketch comedy show for Granada Television, Al Fresco, which ran for 2 series. Fry and Laurie worked together on various projects throughout the 1980s and 1990s. Among them were the Blackadder series, written by Ben Elton and Richard Curtis, starring Rowan Atkinson, with Laurie in various roles, including 2 roles in Blackadder 2, which marked his debut appearance in the series, first as drunk Simon Partridge in Beer and then as the villainous Prince Ludwig the Indestructible in the Blackadder 2 final episode, Chains, and then Prince George in Blackadder III and Lieutenant George in Blackadder Goes Forth. 7 other projects followed, of which one was their BBC sketch comedy series A Bit of Fry and Laurie. Another project was Jeeves and Wooster 7, an adaptation of P.G. Wodehouse's stories, in which Laurie played Jeeves's employer, the amiable twit Bertie Wooster. He and Fry participated in charity stage events, such as Hysteria 1, 2 and 3 and Amnesty International's The Secret Policeman's Third Ball, comic relief TV shows and the variety show Fry and Laurie host A Christmas Night with the Stars. They collaborated again on the film Peter's Friends, 1992, and came together for a retrospective show in 2010 titled Fairy and Laurie Reunited. Laurie starred in the Thames television film Letters from a Bomber Pilot, 1985, directed by David Hodgson. This was a serious acting role, the film being dramatized from the letters home of pilot officer J.R.A. Bob Hodgson, a pilot in RAF Bomber Command, who was killed in action in 1943. 26. Laurie appeared in the music videos for the 1986 single Experiment 4 by Kate Bush, and the 1992 Annie Lennox single Walking on Broken Glass in British Regency period costume alongside John Malkovich. 27. Laurie appeared in the Spice Girls film Spice World, 1997, and had a brief guest starring role on Friends in The One with Ross's Wedding, 1998. Laurie's later film appearances include Sense and Sensibility, 1995, adapted by and starring Emma Thompson, the Disney live-action film 101 Dalmatians, 1996, where he played Jasper, one of the bumbling criminals hired to kidnap the puppies, Elton's adaptation of his novel Inconceivable, Maybe Baby, 2000, Girl from Rio, the 2004 adaptation of The Flight of the Phoenix, and Stuart Little. Since 2002, Laurie has appeared in a range of British television dramas, guest starring that year in 2 episodes of the first season of the spy thriller series Spooks on BBC One. In 2003, he starred in and also directed ITV's comedy drama series 40-something, in one episode of which Stephen Fry appears. In 2001, he voiced the character of a bar patron in the Family Guy episode 1 If by Clam, 2 If by Sea. Laurie voiced the character of Mr. Wolf in the cartoon Preston Pig. He was a panelist on the first episode of Chi, alongside Fry as host. In 2004, Laurie guest starred as a professor in charge of a space probe called Beagle, on The Lenny Henry Show. Laurie with House, MD executive producers Katie Jacobs and David Shore in 2009. Between 2004 and 2012, Laurie starred as an acerbic physician specializing in diagnostic medicine, Dr. Gregory House, in the Fox medical drama House. For his portrayal, he assumed an American accent. 7. He was in Namibia filming Flight of the Phoenix and recorded his audition tape for the show in the bathroom of the hotel, as it was the only place he could get enough light. 28. Jacob Vargas operated the camera for the audition tape. Laurie's American accent was so convincing that executive producer Bryan Singer, who was unaware at the time that Laurie was British, pointed to him as an example of just the kind of compelling American actor he had been looking for. 28. Laurie also adopted the accent between takes on the set of House 29 as well as during script read-throughs, although he used his native accent when directing the episode Lockdown. 29. He also served as director for the episode The C Word. 30. Laurie was nominated for an Emmy Award for his role in House in 2005. 31. Although he did not win, he did receive a Golden Globe in both 2006 and 2007 for his work on the series and the Screen Actors Guild Award in 2007 and 2009. Laurie was also awarded a large increase in salary, from what was rumored to be a mid-range 5-figure sum to $350,000 per episode. Laurie was not nominated for the 2006 Emmys, apparently to the outrage of Fox executives. 32. But he still appeared in a scripted, pre-taped intro, where he parodied his House character by rapidly diagnosing host Conan O'Brien and then proceeding to grope him as the latter asked him for help to get to the Emmys on time. He would later go on to speak in French while presenting an Emmy with Dame Helen Mirren, and was since nominated in 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010, and 2011. Laurie was initially cast as Perry White, the editor of the Daily Planet, in Singer's film Superman Returns, but had to bow out of the project because of his commitment to House. 33. In 2006, Laurie appeared on Inside the Actors Studio, where he also performed one of his own comic songs, Mystery, accompanying himself on the piano. 7. He hosted NBC's Saturday Night Live, in which he appeared in drag in a sketch about a man, Kenan Thompson, with a broken leg who accuses his doctor of being dishonest. Laurie played the man's wife. Hugh Laurie at the 59th Primetime Emmy Awards in September 2007. In 2007, Laurie appeared on BBC4's documentary Stephen Fry, 50 Not Out, filmed in celebration of Fry's 50th birthday. In 2008, he took part in Blackadder Rides Again, which saw him reuniting with former Blackadder producer, John Lloyd, who had traveled to the set of House MD in Hollywood, Los Angeles, California to interview Laurie, who recalled his time working on the Blackadder series. Laurie also appeared as Captain James Biggs in Street Kings, opposite Keanu Reeves and Forrest Whitaker, and then in 2009 as the eccentric Drive Herbert Cockroach, PhD in DreamWorks' Monsters vs. Aliens. He also hosted Saturday Night Live for the second time on the Christmas show, in which he sang a medley of 3-second Christmas songs to close his monologue. In 2009, Laurie returned to guest star in another Family Guy episode, Business Guy, parodying Gregory House. In 2010, Laurie guest starred in The Simpsons episode Treehouse of Horror XXI as Roger, a castaway who is planning a murder scheme on a ship during Homer and Marge's second honeymoon. 34. House ended in 2012 after an 8-season run. That same year, the media announced that Laurie was in negotiations to play the villain in RoboCop, a remake of the original RoboCop film. 35. These negotiations ultimately fell through and Laurie passed on the project. 36. In 2012, Laurie starred in an independent feature called The Oranges that had a limited release. The Star-Ledger of Newark, New Jersey thought that he was particularly good. 37. After the end of House, Laurie took a 3-year hiatus from film and TV work. Laurie in 2012. Laurie was in negotiations to be cast in the role of Blackbeard for the 2014 series Crossbones. However, the role went to John Malkovich. 38. In 2015 he returned to TV work with a recurring role on Veep as Tom James, a role written specifically for him after showrunner Armando Iannucci heard he was a fan of the show. 39. Laurie continued to recur on the show until the final season in 2019. The same year he played the villain David Nix in Brad Bird's 2015 film Tomorrowland. 40-41. Laurie played arms dealer Richard Onslow Roper in the BBC One miniseries The Night Manager. The series started filming in spring 2015 and aired first on the BBC. 42. He was nominated for 2 Emmys for his work on the miniseries and won the Golden Globe Award for Best Supporting Actor Series, Miniseries, or Television Film. In addition to being an executive producer on the show alongside Tom Hiddleston, it was also Laurie's first role on British TV in 13 years. Laurie starred as Dr. Eldon Chance, a San Francisco-based forensic neuropsychiatrist in the Hulu thriller series Chance, which lasted for 2 seasons from 2016 to 2017. 43-44. In 2018, Laurie had a small role in the critically panned film Holmes and Watson. In 2019, Laurie appeared in Veep creator Armando Iannucci's film The Personal History of David Copperfield, an adaptation of the novel David Copperfield by Charles Dickens. That same year it was announced he would also work with Iannucci on the upcoming space comedy Avenue 5 for HBO. 45. Season 2 of Avenue 5 was released on October 10, 2022, with Laurie reprising his role as Captain Ryan. 46. Laurie starred as Eric Peterson in the 3rd season of Tehran in 2024. 47-48. Laurie will headline new thriller drama The Wanted Man for Apple TV and as crime lord Felix Carmichael. 49. Laurie was announced as the voice of Albus Dumbledore in Harry Potter, the full cast audio editions from Audible and Pottermore Publishing, with the first audiobook set to be released on November 4, 2025. 50. Music. Hugh Laurie playing with his jazz band at Belo Horizonte, Brazil in 2014. Laurie is an accomplished pianist who began taking piano lessons at the age of 6. 51 He sings and plays the piano, guitar, drums, harmonica, and saxophone. He has displayed his musical talents throughout his acting career, such as on A Bit of Fry and Laurie, Jeeves, and Worcester, House, and his appearance as host of Saturday Night Live in October 2006. He is a vocalist and keyboard player for the Los Angeles charity rock group Band from TV. Following Meatloaf's appearance in the House episode Simple Explanation, Laurie played piano as a special guest on the song If I Can't Have You from Meatloaf's 2010 album Hang Cool Teddy Bear. Laurie co wrote and performed the humorous blues song, Sperm Test in the Morning, in the film Maybe Baby. 52. On House Laurie played several classic rock and roll instruments including Gibson Flying V and Les Paul guitars, as well as piano and Hammond B3 organ. 53. On July 26, 2010 it was announced that Laurie would be releasing a blues album after signing a contract with Warner Brothers Records. 54. The album, called Let Them Talk, was released in France on April 18, 2011 and in Germany on April 29. The album features collaborations from well-known artists such as Tom Jones, Irma Thomas, and Dr. John. On May 1, 2011 Laurie and a jazz quintet closed the 2011 Cheltenham Jazz Festival to great acclaim. 55. He followed that up as the subject of the May 15, 2011 episode of ITV's series Perspectives, explaining his love for the music of New Orleans and playing music, from his album Let Them Talk, at studios and live venues in the city itself. 51. He was the subject of PBS Great Performances Let Them Talk, also about New Orleans jazz, first broadcast on September 30, 2011. 56. His second album, Didn't It Rain, was released in the UK on May 6, 2013. 57. In the same year he played at the RMS Queen Mary together with his band. This concert was filmed and later released as live on the Queen Mary on DVD and Blu-ray. Writing. In 1996 Laurie's first novel, The Gun Seller, an intricate thriller laced with Waterhouse-ian humor, was published and became a bestseller. 7. He has since been working on the screenplay for a film version. His second novel, The Paper Soldier, was scheduled for September 2009 but has yet to appear. Personal life. Laurie married theatre administrator Joe Green on June 16, 1989 in the Camden area of London. 58. They have 3 children, Charlie, Bill, and Rebecca. 59. Laurie's elder son Charlie played a small role as baby William in A Bit of Fry and Laurie, during a sketch titled Special Squad. His daughter Rebecca had a role in the film Wit as 5-year-old Vivian Baring. Stephen Fry, Laurie's best friend and longtime comedy partner, was the best man at his wedding and is the godfather of his children. 60. While appearing on Inside the Actors Studio in 2006 he discussed his struggles with severe clinical depression. 7. He told host James Lipton that he first concluded he had a problem while driving in a charity demolition derby, during which he realized that seeing 2 cars collide and explode made him feel bored rather than excited or frightened. He quipped that boredom is not an appropriate response to exploding cars. 7. As of 2006 he was having regular sessions with his psychotherapist. 7-11. Laurie admires the writings of P.G. Wodehouse, explaining in a 1999 article in the Daily Telegraph how reading Wodehouse novels had saved his life. 61. In an interview also in the Daily Telegraph, he confirmed that he is an atheist. 62. He is an avid motorcycle enthusiast and has 2 motorbikes, one at his London home and one at his Los Angeles home. His bike in the US is a Triumph Bonneville, his self-proclaimed feeble attempt to fly the British flag. 63. In 2013, Laurie was the guest on BBC Radio 4's Desert Island Discs, where he chose tracks from Joe Cocker, Sister Rosetta Tharpe, Randy Newman, Professor Longhair, Son House, Nina Simone, Lester Young Buddy Rich Trio, and Van Morrison as his 8 favorite discs. 64. This was his second appearance on the show, having previously been on a 1996 episode, where he chose tracks by Muddy Waters, Max Bruch, The Rolling Stones, Frank Sinatra with Count Basie, Ian Dury and the Blockheads, Eric Wolfgang Korngold, Van Morrison, and Dr. John. 65. Laurie is a supporter of Arsenal FC. 66. Recognition. Laurie has won 3 Golden Globe Awards and 2 Screen Actors Guild Awards, and has been nominated for 10 Primetime Emmy Awards. 67-68. Laurie was appointed Officer of the Order of the British Empire, OBE, for services to drama in the 2007 New Year Honours. 69-70-71-72 He was promoted to Commander of the same order, CBE, for his services to drama in the 2018 New Year Honours. 73. In 2012 Laurie was made an honorary fellow of his alma mater Selwyn College, Cambridge. 74-75. In 2016 he was awarded a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Brittany Leanna Robertson Floyd 1-2, née Robertson, born April 18, 1993, known professionally as Britt Robertson, is an American actress. She has appeared in the films The First Time, 2012, Tomorrowland, 2015, The Space Between Us, 2017, and I Still Believe, 2020. Raised in Greenville, South Carolina, she is the eldest of 7 siblings. At 14, Robertson moved to Los Angeles with her grandmother to audition for TV roles, a pivotal move that led to her living independently from the age of 16. Robertson's early career saw her performing on stage at the Greenville Little Theater, before transitioning to screen, making her debut in an episode of Sheena in 2000. Her subsequent roles in television and film included Power Rangers Time Force, The Ghost Club, and more significant parts in Growing Pains, Return of the Seavers, Dan in Real Life, and The 10th Circle. Her lead roles in series such as Life Unexpected, 2010-2011, and The Secret Circle, 2011-2012, paved the way for further recognition. Robertson gained wider acclaim for her performances in Under the Dome, 2013-2014, Tomorrowland, 2015, and as the lead in Girl Boss, 2017, portraying a fictionalized version of entrepreneur Sophia Amoruso. Her career continued with roles in films like I Still Believe and on television in The Rookie, Feds, 2022. Early life. Robertson was born at Novant Health Presbyterian Medical Center in Charlotte, North Carolina, to Beverly, née Hayes, and Ryan Robertson, a restaurant owner. 3 Robertson grew up in Greenville, South Carolina. She is the oldest of 7 children. Her mother and stepfather have 3 children, 2 girls, 1 boy, and her father and stepmother also have 3 children, 1 girl, 2 boys. 4-5. Her grandmother, Schuler Robertson, took her to Los Angeles when she was 14 years old in order to allow her to audition for TV pilots. Robertson said that they would knit together during downtime on set. 5. Her grandmother returned to North Carolina when Robertson was 16, at which point she lived on her own in Los Angeles. They remain close. 5. Career. This section of a biography of a living person needs additional citations for verification. Please help by adding reliable sources. Contentious material about living persons that is unsourced or poorly sourced must be removed immediately from the article and its talk page, especially if potentially libelous. Find sources: Britt Robertson Newspapers Books Scholar Jester, July 2023. Learn how and when to remove this message. Robertson first appeared before an audience when performing various roles on stage at the Greenville Little Theater in her hometown. At age 12, she began making extended trips to Los Angeles to audition for roles in television series and landed a role in a television pilot for a series which was never picked up by a network. She made her screen debut as the younger version of the title character in an episode of Sheena in 2000. She made a guest appearance on Power Rangers Time Force the following year and received a Young Artist Award nomination for Best Performance in a TV movie, miniseries, or special leading young actress for her role in The Ghost Club, 2003. Robertson was selected to play Michelle Seaver in The Growing Pains, Return of the Seavers in 2004. 6A role in Keeping Up with the Steins followed in 2006. She played Kara Burns in the 2007 film Dan in Real Life. Robertson appeared in CSI, Crime Scene Investigation in the episode Go to Hell, and had a role as a recurring character in the CBS television series Swingtown. 7. In 2008, she played the protagonist in a Lifetime original film, The 10th Circle, based on Jodi Picoult's novel of the same name, followed by other television roles. 8-9. In 2009, she appeared in Mother and Child. In the same year, she played a small role as DJ in the Alison Stoner Project. She also made a guest appearance on Law & Order, Special Victims Unit in the episode Babes as Tina Bernardi, a Catholic teen who gets pregnant in a pact. 10. In late autumn 2010, she starred as Allie Pennington in the Disney Channel original film Avalon High. Robertson played the lead role of Lux Cassidy in the television drama series Life Unexpected, 2010-2011, which was cancelled in its second season despite positive reviews. In 2011, she appeared in Scream 4. She also had a leading role in the supernatural teen drama television series The Secret Circle, 2011-2012, but after its first season, it was also cancelled. 11. That same year, she starred in the film The First Time. Britt Robertson, Anais Demistier, Pilla Ayatala, Zirinka Kvite, Frida Pinto, and Jessica Chastain at the 2010 Hamptons International Film Festival. In 2013, she joined the main cast of the science fiction mystery television series Under the Dome in the role of Angie 12, which she played until 2014. She had subsequent roles in the films Delivery Man, 2013, and Ask Me Anything, 2014, for which she won the Best Actress award at the Nashville Film Festival. In 2014, Robertson won the Boston Film Festival Award for Best Supporting Actress for White Rabbit. In 2015, she starred in The Longest Ride 13 and also played the starring role in the film Tomorrowland 14, for which she was nominated for the Teen Choice Award for Choice Movie Actress Sci-Fi/Fantasy. Robertson received wider recognition in 2015, after landing the roles of Sophia Danko in The Longest Ride. She received a nomination for the Teen Choice Award for Choice Movie Actress Drama. 15. In 2016, she starred in the films Mr. Church and Mother's Day, and in 2017, she starred in the science fiction romance film The Space Between Us and in the comedy drama film A Dog's Purpose. 16. That same year, she headlined the Netflix comedy television series Girl Boss, portraying a fictionalized version of self-made millionaire Sophia Amoruso. 17. She starred in the ABC legal drama For the People for its entire two-season run. In April 2019, Robertson was cast in the role of Melissa Henning, the real-life wife of Christian rock musician Jeremy Camp, in Lionsgate's faith-based biographical romance film I Still Believe. 18. The film was released in March 2020. In January 2021, Robertson was added to the cast of the ABC drama Big Sky as recurring character Cheyenne Kleinsasser. 19. On July 30, 2021, Robertson was cast in the upcoming independent film The Re-Education of Molly Singer as the title character. 20. Personal life. On May 25, 2022, Robertson announced her engagement to British football player Paul Floyd. 21. The couple were married on April 8, 2023, in Los Angeles. Tomorrowland 2015, also known as Project T in some regions and subtitled A World Beyond in some other regions, is a 2015 American science fiction film directed by Brad Bird with a screenplay by Bird and Damon Lindelof. The film is based on the themed land Tomorrowland from the Disney parks and a story by Bird, Lindelof, and Jeff Jensen. It stars George Clooney, Hugh Laurie, Britt Robertson, Rafe Cassidy, Tim McGraw, Kathryn Hahn, and Keegan-Michael Key. In the film, a disillusioned genius inventor and a teenage science enthusiast embark to an intriguing alternate dimension known as Tomorrowland, where their actions directly affect their own world. Walt Disney Pictures originally announced the film in June 2011 under the working title 1952 and later retitled it to Tomorrowland after the Disney Parks theme land. 6-7 in drafting their story, Britt and Lindelof took inspiration from the progressive cultural movements of the space age, as well as Walt Disney's optimistic philosophy of the future, notably his conceptual vision for the planned community known as Epcot. 8-9 Principal photography began in August 2013, with scenes shot at multiple locales in 5 countries. 10. Tomorrowland was released by Walt Disney Studios Motion Pictures in conventional and IMAX formats on May 22, 2015. The film, which received mixed reviews from critics, grossed $209 million worldwide and was considered a commercial failure for losing Disney $120–150 million at the box office. 11-12-13. Plot. Young boy Frank Walker attends the New York World's Fair to sell his prototype jetpack, but is rejected because it does not work. He is approached by the young girl Athena, who hands him an orange lapel pin with a blue T embossed on it, telling him to follow her onto Walt Disney's It's a Small World attraction at the fair's Pepsi-Cola Pavilion. Frank obeys, sneaking onto the ride. There, the pin is scanned by a laser, and he is transported to Tomorrowland, a futuristic cityscape, where advanced robots fix his jetpack, allowing him to fly and join the secretive world. In the present day, optimistic teenager Casey Newton repeatedly sabotages the planned demolition of a NASA launch site in Florida. Her father Eddie, a NASA engineer, faces losing his job. Casey is eventually caught and arrested. At the police station, she finds a pin in her belongings. Touching it, the pin transports her to Tomorrowland. Her adventure is cut short when the pin's battery runs out, leaving Casey stranded in a lake. With help from her younger brother Nate, Casey finds a Houston memorabilia store related to the pin. The owners attack her when she is unable to divulge where she got the pin, insisting that Casey knows about a little girl. Athena bursts in and defeats the owners, actually audio animatronics, who self-destruct, blowing apart the shop. After Casey and Athena steal a car, Athena reveals she is also an animatronic, purposed to find and recruit people who fit the ideals of Tomorrowland. She then drops Casey off outside an adult Frank's house in Pittsfield, New York. The now reclusive, cynical Frank declines Casey's request to take her to Tomorrowland, having been banished from it years ago. Inside his house, Casey finds a probability counter marking the end of the world. Frank warns her that the future is doomed, but she disagrees, thus lowering the counter's probability. Animatronic assassins arrive to kill Casey, but she and Frank escape, meeting Athena in the woods outside his house. Frank resents Athena for lying to him about her true nature, but reluctantly agrees to help them get to Tomorrowland. Using a teleportation device, the trio travel to the top of the Eiffel Tower. Frank explains that Gustav Eiffel, Jules Verne, Nikola Tesla, and Thomas Edison co-founded Plus Ultra, a secret society of futurists, creating Tomorrowland in another dimension, free to make scientific breakthroughs without obstruction. The trio use an antique rocket, called the Spectacle, hidden beneath the Eiffel Tower to travel to Tomorrowland. There, they find Tomorrowland in a state of decay. David Nix, Tomorrowland's governor, greets them. They travel to a tachyon machine, invented by Frank, which accurately predicted the worldwide catastrophe. Casey refuses to accept the world will end, causing the future to temporarily alter. Frank attempts to convince Nix to listen, who refuses and intends to have the group leave Tomorrowland. Casey realizes the tachyon machine is telling humanity that the world will end, creating a self-fulfilling prophecy. They confront Nix, who admits he tried to prevent the future by projecting such images to humanity as a warning. Instead, they embraced the apocalypse, refusing to act to make a better future for their world. Believing that humanity simply gave up, Nix has to and intends to allow the apocalypse to happen so he can rebuild the world to his liking. Casey, Frank, and Athena attempt to use a bomb to destroy the machine, leading to a fight with Nix. The bomb is accidentally thrown through a portal to an uninhabited island on Earth, the explosion pinning Nyx's leg. Athena sees a vision of the future where Frank is shot by Nyx, and she jumps in the way of his attack, mortally wounding herself beyond repair. Making peace with Frank, Athena activates her self-destruct sequence, destroying the machine, which falls on Nyx, killing him. In the present, Casey and Frank leave Tomorrowland, recruit Eddie and Nate, and create a new group of recruitment animatronics like Athena, whom they were addressing at the beginning of the film. Given pins, the animatronic children set out to recruit new dreamers and thinkers for Tomorrowland. Cast: George Clooney as Frank Walker, a grizzled inventor who was banished from Tomorrowland decades ago by its leader, David Nyx. Thomas Robinson as young Frank Walker. Hugh Laurie as David Nyx, leader/governor of Tomorrowland. Britt Robertson as Casey Newton, an optimistic and tech-savvy teenager. Shiloh Nelson as young Casey Newton. Rafe Cassidy as Athena, an audio animatronic android recruiter. Tim McGraw as Eddie Newton, Casey's father and a NASA engineer. Catherine Hahn as Ursula, store owner and one of Nyx's agents. Keegan-Michael Key as Hugo Gernsback, store owner and another of Nyx's agents. Matthew McCall as Dave Clark, the leader of Nyx's group of audio animatronic assassins. Pierce Gagnon as Nate Newton, Casey's younger brother. Chris Bauer as Mr. Walker, Frank's father. Judy Greer as Jenny Newton, Casey's mother. Gary Chalk as jail desk jockey. Production. Development. In 2010, Damon Lindelof began discussions with Walt Disney Studios about producing a modern science fiction Disney film, with Tomorrowland as a basis. 14 The project was greenlit by Walt Disney Pictures President of Production, Sean Bailey in June 2011, with Lindelof signed on to write and produce a film with the working title of 1952. 15 Lindelof asked Jeff Jensen, who had previously published material on Lindelof's Lost television series, if he would be interested in contributing to story elements. Jensen agreed and began to research the history of the Walt Disney Company, particularly Walt Disney's fascination with futurism, scientific innovation, and utopia, as well as his involvement with the 1964 New York World's Fair and Disney's unrealized concept for Epcot. 14 In May 2012, Brad Bird was hired as director, as well as write with Lindelof. 16 Bird's story ideas and themes were influenced by the fading of cultural optimism that once defined society in the 1950s, 1960s, and early 1970s, stating that, "When Damon and I were first talking about the project, we were wondering why people's once bright notions about the future gradually seemed to disappear." 17. While keeping information about the plot secret, when asked in November 2000